Welcome back to azWHOLEistic. Today we're going to be talking about IL-6, its pros and cons, and CBD and its benefits on various inflammatory compounds. So let's start with what is IL-6. Well, it's Interleukin 6. That's what IL-6 is referred to, and it's an interleukin that acts both as a pro-inflammatory cytokine as well as an anti-inflammatory myokine. In humans, it's encoded by the IL-6 gene. And interleukin 6, or IL-6, is produced in the body in response to infections and tissue injuries. And this contributes to a host of defense mechanisms through the stimulation of acute immune reactions. So it's part of our immune system. New studies indicate that too much IL-6 can cause inflammatory cytokine storms, and more studies are underway about its production and balance in the body. Now, we've all probably heard of this term, cytokine storms, because this is what happens to people that are immune compromised, that come down with COVID, and the body becomes radically attacked. So we thought it was of value here to share some of these chemical reactions in the body. Next slide, interleukins and cytokines. This is just a quick slide to show some of the different cytokines that are produced in the body, in the brain, and the cellular makeup when we've got either too much or not enough IL-6. IL-6 and signaling pathways. Now these slides, I've got a few slides here that are pulled from an online presentation from a couple of PhDs, and this company is called Nutrigenic, and they're a research institute. Okay, so classic signaling pathways via membranes bound for the IL-6 receptor, which they refer to as IL-6R. This primarily occurs in white blood cells and in liver cells. It promotes acute phase inflammatory responses and potential anti-inflammatory responses. So the key here is that it has to be present in the body in balance. And this is something we talk about in all of our videos and in our stores when we talk to people about different cannabinoids and how they work in balancing the body. So this is a slide regarding C-reactive protein. Okay, and IL-6 regulates CRP transcription. So C-reactive protein, or CRP, is a major mediator of acute phase inflammation and is often measured to evaluate underlying levels of inflammation in the body. Specifically, IL-6 is a major regulator of this CRP transcription, and it appears to be essential for induction into the cell. This is why we always say high quality protein intake is vital for balance in cell membranes in the body. So always get your high quality protein from good, clean sources. Now, as far as immune responses, IL-6 is critical for immune defenses. Our immune system and white blood cells are critical for protection against these pathogens that enter our body. And these acute inflammation signals for tissue repair and inflammatory responses are designed to initiate healing in the body. Next slide. This is pulled from PubMed, peer-reviewed study, in the role of IL-6 as a myokine. Okay, and off to the right are the bullet points of this study. The beneficial effects mediated by exercise may be induced by IL-6 production. This is fairly new science. It appears that IL-6 is released into circulation from contracting muscles. This is fairly new science, and this is pretty exciting. So moderate exercise, obviously we've known this for decades, is very good for you. Getting those muscles just to contract and to move is very beneficial. And further clinical research suggests that IL-6 may have a role in gastric functions as well as exercise. Next slide, we talk about the aging process. So this is really just primarily about oxidative stress in the body. And this study was a peer-reviewed study on PubMed that was focusing on the elderly. Okay, people that have chronic low-grade inflammation were shown to be people over 60 that were more active. Next slide. Again, oxidative stress. We're just highlighting the bullet points on this study to the right. When comparing successful aging individuals to those with aging-related diseases or disabilities, there was a lower IL-6 level in the successfully aging group. Longer survival was associated with lower concentrations of IL-6. Okay, so now we're going to drill down a little bit more detailed on this with the highlighted section from this particular study, again showing IL-6 contributes to endothelial dysfunction. So what is endothelial dysfunction? Well, the endothelial is part of the cell wall. All of your cells have walls, they're barriers, and the endothelial lines the inside of the blood vessels to be a protection against invaders. So IL-6 is associated with hypertension and higher incidence of all causes of mortality. So the higher IL-6, the higher associates of mortality, meaning more people tend to die earlier when there's too much of this in the system. Okay, so now this is going to be talking about CBD and how it helps to balance IL-6 in the body. Again, this is a report from the National Library of Medicine, PubMed, and we've highlighted here the randomized double-blind placebo-controlled study of daily CBD intake for the treatment of canine osteoarthritis and pain. Now, canines, obviously dogs, they are mammals. So we've known now for decades that CBD and different cannabinoids work on all mammals. They have the same receptors that we have. So what works in a dog will work in a human because of those receptors. So here's the detail of this study, IL-6 and the benefits of CBD in detail. I'm going to read it to you real quick. Here, we evaluated CBD for its ability to modulate the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines in vitro and murine models of induced inflammation, and further validated the ability of liposomal formulation to increase the bioavailability in mice and humans. Subsequently, the therapeutic potential of both raw or naked and liposomal or encapsulated CBD was explored in a 4-week randomized placebo-controlled double-blind study in spontaneous canine models of osteoarthritis. And it says here clearly, CBD significantly attenuated the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines, including IL-6 and TNF-A, while elevating levels of anti-inflammatory IL-10. In these veterinary studies, CBD significantly decreased pain and increased mobility at a moderate dose, depending on this fashion, with affirmative diagnosis of osteoarthritis. Liposomal CBD, 20 milligrams per day, was as effective as even the higher dose of non-liposomal, which is raw, pure CBD oil, at 50 milligrams, improving clinical outcomes dramatically. So, conclusion, CBD, cannabidiol, has shown promise for osteoarthritis. CBD at low to moderate dosages helps to reduce inflammation. CBD at low to moderate dosages doesn't show any negative side effects. And CBD significantly lowered the pro-inflammatory cytokines, including balance to production of IL-6. So, when you seek CBD protocols or CBD products, always seek out high quality products with no fillers. Make sure there's no added junk in there. And always start your CBD protocol low and slowly increase your dose every 2 to 3 days, because every dose or every person is unique. And each person's metabolism will dictate the dosage of when it starts to stimulate those receptors. Okay? So again, more good promise showing various cannabinoids working on different cytokine storms and different inflammatory responses in the body. We appreciate you watching. Hope you have a great day, and do something nice for someone today, because there's not enough of that in the world right now.